Hello everyone and welcome again to another edition of WNBL iTV. Of course, as we do every week, we're going to be looking ahead to what's coming up in round 5 of WNBL action. But before we get into that, Laurie Chiswick, what a week it was in round 4 of the WNBL.
Well, Darren, we've talked so much about the closeness of the competition this week, and how about that? 3 games were all tied up with less than a couple of minutes to go. Fantastic stuff.
Yeah, and as well as that, of course, we are going to be hearing from Catherine Murphy at the news desk, as well as catching up with a couple of WNBL stars through the program as well. As we keep saying on WNBL ITV, please stay in contact with us in as many ways as you can. The WNBL has lots of social media platforms. We've got Facebook, we've got our Twitter handle, and of course the WNBL website and their mobile website as well. And Laurie, I know that you've been extraordinarily busy tweeting yourself. I don't know how you find the time to do anything else these days.
It's a lot of fun, Darren, but I need to ask you before we kick off, what is happening with the face?
That's a very personal question. No, look, Laurie, I just thought that after all the money I lost over the Spring Racing Carnival in Melbourne, I thought I'd better do my bit to actually earn a little bit back and earn it for a good cause. So I've decided to participate in Movember this year. It also gives me a good reason to bring back the facial hair of the ABC's WNBL coverage. So in a week or so's time, I'm going to trim all this and try and just get down to some sort of a dodgy mo, if that's okay with you.
Well, I'm glad you have a good reason. I was getting a little bit worried.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Let's get into our ABC Game of the Week from last week. It was a thriller. There's been so much attention on the game from Bulleen and Dandenong. It was at the basketball stadium out at Dandenong, and it was one of the most remarkable matches we've seen, and a lot of feistiness in the match too.
Oh, Darren, there were bodies flying everywhere, and at one point there was a little bit of a melee with Alison Downey and Rachel Jerry. Nothing malice in it, although what it did was really fire up both teams, and you could just see the passion coming out in both the players.
It really was. It was an extraordinary game. The Dandenong Rangers led by 15 points in the third quarter, 51-36, but the Bulleen Boomers never seemed out of it. This is some of the action from down the stretch in the last quarter, and it was just a remarkable comeback for Bulleen to outscore the Rangers by 18 points in the last quarter and win the match.
Well, most people that have watched that game have said, how did Bulleen possibly win this game? They just kept coming at Dandenong slowly but surely. Rachel Jerry, as we see in that shot, absolutely came alive in that last quarter.
She'd been really quiet for the rest of the match, but it proves their character, this young Boomers side, an average age of less than 22, but they just played like winners.
Well, they did, Darren, although they looked for 3/4 of the game really disjointed, and Dandenong just took it right at them. Kath McLeod, Jenna O'Hay had the game of her life, except in the last quarter they just faded a little bit, and that's when Bulleen just kept creeping ahead.
What do you put that down to?
Well, I don't know whether it's fitness or they just went flat out so hard in those first 3 quarters, and you can see what an amazing play by Rachel Jerry to get that in out of bounds to Joe Leadham, and that really sealed the game for them. That's where they took the lead, Darren. That
was the go-ahead basket from Joe Leadham with 50 seconds to go, and after that they were put on the foul line a couple of times and ended up coming out winners 81-76, and some fantastic individual performances, and really it's time for the Rangers to regroup looking ahead to this week.
Oh, well, it is. They would have been shattered by that loss, and Bulleen, I think, will just be left shaking their heads again going, how did we get out of jail with that one?
Yeah, no doubt. They certainly cashed in their get out of jail free card in that match. All right, well, this week, WNBL Media's Ryan Mobilia actually caught up with one lady who has been a star for the Bulleen Boomers since her return to the competition, Sam Richards.
All right, Sam. Well, you've obviously had a great individual start to the season, named WNBL Player of the Week in the first week. How are you settling back into the league?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's totally different and it's new for me. 3 years away in playing a European style of game is totally different. So adjusting to our tempo and our style has been a bit of a challenge, but I'm really, really happy to be home and really enjoying playing for the Boomers.
Fantastic, and you've already had a couple of great individual battles in your first few games, including one particular against Christy Harrower a couple of weeks ago. Boomers didn't actually get the win in that one, but it must be good going up against some really good competition.
Yeah, well, that's the focus of coming home as well. You play a good point guard every week, and so for me to play against Christy is just another learning experience. So, you take it for what it is and take all the benefits out of the game you can, apart from losing. But we'll learn from that. Hopefully next time when I come up against Christy, I can put in another battle.
And you mentioned in the off-season that one of the other reasons for coming home was to try and prepare for a potential run at the Olympic team. Do you keep an eye on the other Opals squad guards in the league and see what they're up to and when you're going to be coming up against them?
Yeah, I guess you do, but it all comes down to what you do personally, I think. So if I can do everything I can, then I'll have no regrets either way. So you sort of can't focus too much on what everyone else is doing, because then it takes the focus off yourself. So my main goal is just making sure my body's right and I'm playing the best I can, and then hopefully that takes care of itself.
Are there any other particular on-court areas that you're trying to work on for this season?
Yeah, obviously my shooting, my three-point range definitely needs improvement. So that's been a focal point of our, individuals with Timsy, and I guess everything in your game needs work. And my defence, obviously on the ball and guarding mid pick and rolls is a key as well. So looking after those little things are going to play a big part in hopefully me making the team.
You play with a team with plenty of personalities on it, from the coaching staff down to Liz and some of the other girls. So how's it been so far at Bulleen? You're one of the older players at the club, but and also one of the leaders. So what's it like just around those girls?
Yeah, it's actually been great. We've bonded really well as a group, and it's actually a great atmosphere to play with. And every player on the team you have a good rapport with, and it's been so far so good. So all we need now is to transfer that into some wins.
And you mentioned that you're doing a bit of coaching as well down here with Joanna Leadham as well with the school team. So how's that going?
Yeah, good. Down at Melbourne Girls Grammar, it's really good to help those girls and try and get some wins with them and just improve their basketball knowledge, I guess. It's just good to have something else rather than just focusing on your own training.
And the girls, I heard they were struggling with Jo's accent. Is she getting her message across?
Yeah, well, she tries to. We always tell Jo that we can't understand her, so it's a bit of an ongoing joke now. But they think it's quite hilarious, the young girls. They like her coaching them because they can't really understand what she's saying.
Fantastic. Thanks very much, Sam, and good luck for the rest of the year.
Thanks.
Yes, Sam Richards is having a fantastic season, and thanks to Ryan Mobilia from the WNBL for that interview. All right, let's look back at what happened in round 4 of the Women's National Basketball League and the other games. First up on Friday night, the AAS hosted the Adelaide Lightning, and for the second time in a couple of weeks, the Lightning ran out pretty comfortable victors over the Institute. Peter Buckle once again was able to manage the playing time of some of his stars ahead of a tough weekend. The Logan Thunder hosted the Townsville Fire, and unfortunately for the hosts, they weren't able to get their job done against their North Queensland rivals. The Fire running out 12-point victors, again led by their import, Shanavia Dowdle, who's had a fantastic start to her WNBL career. But we want to have a little bit more of a look at the Canberra-Adelaide game, Laurie Chiswick, because this was once again, it was a thriller.
Oh, it went right down to the wire. And again, I'm a bit of a tragic and was watching some live stats there. And it came down to foul shots. There were some critical shots. Right at the end, Angela Marino had to nail 4 shots to really seal the game. So when people say foul shots can win or lose games, it was certainly the case. And certainly Canberra will be really upset at losing that home game.
They really will be, and certainly Carrie Graff was quoted in the media during the week as saying that. But Abby Bishop, 11 for 14 from the foul line, illustrating your point. And Susie Bakovic came alive in the last quarter, had 10 of her 15 points in the final term after Adelaide trailed by 8 points at three-quarter time. It really was a week for the comebacks. We've already spoken about the Bulleen-Dandenong game, of course, and the other one where there was just huge, wild fluctuations in momentum was the Sydney Uni Flames against the Bendigo Spirit. The Flames ending up 2-point victors in a game that they trailed by 13 points at one stage, they led by 15 points at another stage, but somehow they got the win.
Well, it was like different quarters. First, Bendigo came out on fire. Sydney were terrible. Then Sydney, I think, scored something like 30 points the next quarter. But really, it came right down to that last shot of the game. And I tell you what, Amy Denson is a big-time player. If somebody wants a shot, a go-to player, get the ball in her hands. She wants it, and she will deliver.
32 points at over 60% from the field, and I think she's Laurie Chiswick's favourite player of the competition.
Oh my goodness, she is. I've loved her through the SEABL competition. I'm just so happy for her that her form's continuing.
Yeah, she has been wonderful. And the last match to round out round 4 was over in Perth, where the West Coast Waves' celebrations for Melissa Marsh's 200th game were upset by the Dandenong Rangers, who were able to make up for their disappointment on Friday night against the Bulleen Boomers and run out pretty comfortable victors. All right, that's all of the action from round 4. Let's have a look at the ladder as it stands. Still 2 undefeated teams up the top, Laurie.
Well, Darren, it's actually quite a balanced ladder if you look at it. 2 teams on 5-0 at the top, 2 teams on 0-5 at the bottom, and then a nice comfortable buffer with those 6 teams floating around in the middle.
All right, it promises to be. The season is well poised, I think, as we come into round 5 and a few other interesting matches coming up. All right, now it's time to head over to Catherine Murphy at the news desk for our latest instalment of WNBL News.
Thank you for that, guys. Well, we start with the Player of the Week, and for the second time this season, Amy Denson has taken the award after she hit the game-winning shot for Sydney Uni Flames in their win over Bendigo at the weekend. Congratulations to her. Elsewhere, West Coast Waves will look to get their name in the Guinness Book of World Records. They're hoping to achieve the longest ever timed Mexican wave with their home crowd at the game on Friday night. If you want to go and be part of that record attempt, it's just a gold coin donation to get in, so get to the game. The target that they need to beat is 6 minutes 25 seconds. That was actually recorded by the home crowd at a Milwaukee Bucks game. That was back in 2008. That was Andrew Bogut's club, so best of luck to them on Friday night. And finally, it's been a busy week at the races for Liz Cambage. She has been mingling with sporting royalty. She's caught up with Melbourne Rebel star and of course Wallabies massive star James O'Connor. She's also been hanging out with Danny Cipriani as well as Cadell Evans. Not only that, she's also been voted one of the best dressed celebrities at the races. She wore a beautiful Carla Zampatti gown and she is planning another, I'm sure, gorgeous Sassenbide creation for Oaks Day. So that is all the news from me, and it's also all the racing fashion. Back to you guys.
Well, thanks, Catherine. And, well, I think also some of the Dandenong Rangers girls, fresh off Mary Kane's triumph last year, were the guests of Jerry Ryan and Jayco at the Cup and might be just worried about their purses, Laurie, after losing a bit of money on Mary Kane. I don't know how you went, but...
Well, Darren, I was hoping you wouldn't ask that, so maybe we should just move on to the next topic.
Yeah, I think it's probably good for the both of us. All right, the next topic is, of course, another interview. Catherine Murphy has been very busy, and once again, she's caught up with another one of the stars who's returned to the WNBL this season after some time away.
Thanks, guys. Well, she's just spent 2 years in Europe, but she's back with Sydney Uni. Alicia Poto joins me now. Alicia, 2 years away. How was it?
Oh, look, it was great. I was in Russia, in Novosibirsk, which is old Siberia, and from November to April it was snowing and minus 30. So it was, yeah, it's great to be back in beautiful weather, and having a summer season is exciting as well.
Surely, after all that time, you're fluent in Russian by now, I take it.
Well, I did learn a couple of words while I was there, well, only 2 really. Apart from the hand signals, like for plays, so 4, I would just hold up a number 4 or 1. I learned to say yes, which is da, and thank you is spicy bar. So that was pretty much all I learnt in my 6-7 months over there.
Was that also the case in France, or did you become fluent in French?
I think French, I'd been there 4 years before, previously, so my French was a little bit broken and I could speak enough of it to sort of, you know, get across to speak to the girls. And most of them spoke English. I was in the south of France, so I was lucky that a lot of the girls spoke English, so communicating wasn't a problem. But whereas Russia was definitely just a very special experience.
Wow, so you've been in the south of France. That must have been really, really tough for you.
Oh, it was. The sun, I mean, it was beautiful in April there. We were on the beach and I was actually located on the beach, which is just terrible these days to be, you know, for a professional athlete who gets paid to do what they love to do. To lay on the beach on your day off, it's painful.
Now that you're back in Sydney, how does it feel to be home?
It's great to be back in Sydney. You know, I love being around the girls and I love being in that team atmosphere, around people. That's something that I love, being around people. I don't like to be alone, which was tough when you're overseas. So obviously adjusting to life back in Sydney, it's hard. Traffic, the fact that I had a driver in Russia, which was lovely, and getting driven around. So traffic is an issue, and obviously trying to balance family, because I come from a big family and everyone always wants barbecues and visit. Can you watch this one? Can you come and do this? So it's just balancing that and training, but everything's going well at the moment.
So to summarise your career, you've had a driver in Russia, a private beach in the south of France. How are you seriously going to top that?
Championship with Sydney would be great. I think that would just top it all off. Obviously, I'll finish studying next semester. I want to finish my degree, and yeah, so just, you know, I'm sort of looking at things after basketball now. I'm getting a little bit older, and Nana, that's what they call me, most of the girls, although they would never say it to my face because I would say, yes, be very careful what you're saying. But no, I'm sort of the second eldest in the team, and it's great to be a little bit older. And the girls, I love telling a story, and being the prankster of the team. So, you know, just being back in Sydney and being able to do those things is great.
Brilliant. Alicia, thank you so much. I really hope if you win a championship this year, they just come up with the goods and get you a driver for once and for all.
That would be lovely. Actually, after the game, I wouldn't mind after the game if we could get a nice big, if we win, a limousine and off we go, and the driver, and it's all there. It'd be great.
Or a pink Hummer.
Pink Hummer, why not?
Thanks again to Catherine and also Alicia Poto there. All right, let's have a look at what's coming up in round 5 of the WNBL, and the action kicks off, as it generally does, on Friday night. The AIS hosting the Logan Thunder. It's been a tough start to the season for the girls from the Institute. Their average losing margin at the moment is 31 points. They're yet to salute the judge as we continue the racing metaphors, whilst the Logan Thunder, Laurie, are looking to arrest a 3-game slide.
Well, they will. They'll really want to regroup in this game and really focus on the areas that they need that extra work on, and really sort of try and kickstart this next section of the season. Yeah,
really important game for them. Across in Perth, it's the WNBL Grandstand Game of the Week with ABC Television, and the West Coast Waves are hosting the Townsville Fire. The Waves yet to win a game, and the Townsville Fire are on the other side of the equation, Laurie. 0-5 and 5-0.
Wow, you couldn't get more at opposite ends of the ladder of those two. But look, I think, you know, it's something that they have to still concentrate on. West Coast, you have to respect them. They're at home. But I think even though they are making that long trip across the country, they'll still come up with the goods.
Well, as we keep saying on WNBL iTV, it's great if you get involved with us through our Twitter on the WNBL and also the Facebook site, and send in your viewer questions and all those sort of things. And we've had quite a few. A few of them dealt with the Bulleen Dandenong game a little bit earlier, and we tried to address some of those issues there. But one came from Amanda, who asked us, Laurie, whether or not Chris Lucas's coaching was perhaps the big reason for Townsville's perfect start to the year.
Oh, well, Darren, you'd have to say that certainly Chris was a great coach when he was with Adelaide. He then had a couple of seasons with Carey Graff. So I think he's really, you know, I spoke to him and he said he's really enjoying this playing group. I think his experience and his knowledge would certainly be something that would be spurring this group on. I'm
really looking forward to seeing his group in action on Friday night over there in Western Australia. All right, on Saturday, one of the absolute crackers, we're looking forward to this, is again, it's the Canberra Capitals hosting the Dandenong Rangers. The Rangers have got their victory. They got a win over Perth last week, but that defeat to the Bulleen Boomers will still be burning.
Well, both of those defeats, Darren, they were both at home. They were come from behind wins by the opposition. When I look at the fixture, they only play each other twice, so we know that this is, you know, it's all on the line here. 2 games. Dandenong has already beaten Bulleen by 3 points, so it is an absolute must-win for Bulleen.
Or for Canberra, actually, up there at the AIS Arena, they need to win this game by more than 2 points, as Laurie said, if they are to secure the head-to-head advantage, which can be so crucial in the finals.
Oh, well, the tightness of this competition, head-to-head, I think is going to play a really crucial part in who makes those playoffs and the standings within those playoffs.
Yeah, when they met in round 2, Jenna O'Hay didn't play for the Rangers and Natalie Porter didn't play for the Capitals, so they're big inclusions. Also on Saturday, the RAS are playing the Sydney University Flames, and you would expect, Laurie, this would be a pretty comfortable victory to the Flames, who haven't lost a game yet.
Well, you would think so, Darren, and I'm sure that Karen Dalton will have her team very prepared. But one thing that's really impressive about Sydney is their last couple of wins over quality opponents have been without Lauren King, who hasn't played at all this season, and she's expected to come back and play at the earliest against Townsville. And also, Natalie Stafford hasn't seen the court in the last couple of weeks with a broken bone in her foot. So that's a massive effort for Sydney.
Yeah, they're a tenacious team without doubt. Also on Saturday night, the Bendigo Spirit are hosting the Adelaide Lightning in what shapes up as the first of a very difficult weekend for the Lightning.
Well, it does, and especially given that it's a home game for Bendigo, and they're actually going to be celebrating 100 games that they've been a club so far. And there's 3 people that are involved, that have been involved since the beginning, and Bernie Harrower, Jasmine Finnegan, and Jane Chalmers. So congratulations to all of those 3 that have continued on right from the 100 games. And Darren, I just thought I would try something with you. Since it's 100 games, and I just thought I'd see how many players you actually know really well from Bendigo, I'm going to give you a couple of nicknames.
Okay.
See if you can identify them. Some are a bit obvious. How about Ollie?
Heather Oliver, maybe?
Yes.
Okay.
T-Madge?
Maybe Tess Madgen.
Yes.
Going out on a limb there.
Docky?
Deanna Smith.
Now see if you can get this one. Mops?
No, you got me there.
Andrea Walsh?
Okay, yeah.
Mops. Don't know where that's come from. And last one, Shrimpy.
Gee, I think whoever I say might get offended, so I'm just going to pass.
Oh, it's actually Christy Harrower, and she was given that name in Phoenix, and they call her that in the U.S., but nobody really calls her that here. So I said we might get that resurrected here and start calling her Shrimpy.
Yeah, right. We might start that next time we have a Bendigo game. All right, the final game is the WNBL radio game of the week on Sunday afternoon, so make sure you tune into the boys on WNBL radio and the girls, of course, to have a listen to that. The Bulleen Boomers playing the Adelaide Lightning, and this shapes up as another exciting contest.
Well, Adelaide, on the back of playing Bendigo the night before, they've come up against Bulleen, who have got a big lineup. So it'll be great to see Susie Batkovich matched up against Cambridge, and of course our guards with Marino and Sammy. Whew. Who can pick that one, Darren?
Yeah, well, I know you certainly won't, because you're so scared to pick a winner at the best of times. And a few days out, there is no chance we're going to get anything out of you. All right, Laurie, that's about all we've got time for on WNBL iTV. And once again, we've already mentioned our social media pages. Make sure you look us up. Check out the Twitter, Facebook, WNBL website. Get in contact with us and get in contact with the competition. And make this show your own and get the most out of that you can out of your patronage and viewing of the WNBL. Thank you very much for joining us on WNBL iTV. Thanks to Laurie as well. Of course, as always, we'll see you again next week.